Okay, so welcome to Josh's Property Podcast. Got a very special guest today, who has kindly agreed to come on the podcast. His name is Perry Power. For those who don't know, he runs his own agency based in Reigate called Power Bespoke, and he's worked for some of the largest estate agencies in the UK, including Fine and Country, working on the very high end properties in the southeast, and a very passionate guy. Does a lot of things which we'll cover in the podcast. But yeah, Perry, do you want to give a little intro to what you do, and then just a little introduction to your business?
Yeah, so thanks, Josh, for having me on. Not sure I'm that very special guest, but I'll try and make it with some special little nuggets. Yeah, so I stepped away from employed estate agency and started my own in 2010 in Croydon.
Wow.
Croydon massive.
Yep.
With a business partner back then in 2010. And then we separated 3 years later, very amicably, because of difference of growth aspirations and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And now, yeah, I started Power Bespoke. Funny enough, this is our 10-year. October this year is when I formed the limited company. Started trading January 2014. Yeah, all pretty much from when I was 12 years old. I told myself, or I dreamt of owning my own estate agency. And here we are. I'm now 36, wow. 4 kids, 3 dogs, a wife, still trying to sell a load of houses.
Still here, still doing it, and still growing, I suppose, as well. You're still doing a lot by looks of things, because I mean, you've got your estate agency business on the one hand, and then you also help estate agents grow their businesses through online learning and courses and things like that as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about, if we start off with that side, the educational stuff? Do you want to have a sort of overview on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's more secondary to what I do. My being, my purpose, is to improve the UK estate agency industry. Now, everyone bangs on about that. I get it. But so first and foremost, we do that by actually doing it with Power Bespoke. It's very important for me that I'm on the front line, doing deals, getting instructions, pushing my fees up, you know, doing what actually it takes to improve the industry. And then secondary to that, yeah, I mean, people I think have watched what's happened with Power Bespoke over the years, and it's been a roller coaster. We've had a shocking past couple of years, to be honest, but they've wanted to jump on board and be part of it. So I put a course together. The course then feeds into the 3-day kind of boot camp event, and it's all really exciting because whatever I'm spending my time doing, whether it's in a living room or at the boot camp, it's all about improving the industry. And you see, like me personally, in Power Bespoke are all about enablement. So our kind of mission is to enable more people to move on to the next chapter of their life.
Okay.
Just so happens that we negotiate and help them move. Like, that's how we enable that person's next life step.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's an agent needing some help that are not with Power Bespoke, great, let's do it. Whether it's an agent coming into Power Bespoke who's sick of corporate life maybe and just wants to be let loose to do what they do, whether it's an agent who's self-employed currently but it's not going too well for them and they want a bit more of an ecosystem and to attach themselves to our brand. Yeah, it's all really exciting, and the last couple of years have been really interesting for us, and I'm really excited for the next 2 or 3 years because we've got a really good base.
Excellent. So you mentioned the last couple of years have been a bit turbulent, did you say, or a bit up? And what's been so difficult around that?
I think coming off the back of the COVID, and that's all, let's stop banging on about that. But just to frame it a little bit, like you started in COVID, I think, right?
Yep.
And we went into COVID on a massive growth trajectory, and then it hit. And one of the issues for a business like ours, where we're not racing to get agents on board, we do operate like a partner agent model, but we've also got employed agents as well. It doesn't matter to me how they want to be or what they want to be. It's just all about the person being the right person for the clients ultimately.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was an eye opener, having not very much support financially for the business moving through COVID. And we're self-funded, or no investors. I own 100% of the business. I learned that lesson with a business partner. Probably won't go there again. So yeah, it's just been turbulent, as in refight. We had some agents kind of come in and do really well, and then want more fee shares because there's bigger fee share brands out there, and they kind of forget that we produce 60% of their clients. Generally, we don't require our agents to generate all their clients. We provide as a brand 60% of our agents' clients, makes their life a bit easier, but they still need to go out and get their own. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. Plus, throw the fourth kid in the mix. She's almost 2, bless her.
Oh yeah.
So it's just been a couple of years of refinement, resettlement, ready to come out swinging again and start pushing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because you have your own agents that work for you as self-employed, but you've also got your own employed agencies. But what's your thoughts on the self-employed models that are out there? What's your sort of perspective on that? People looking to get into.
I think I've got to be careful what I say. Like we were very early on the self-employed model. Our first self-employed agent was 2016.
Okay, so you were actually before the whole Keller Williams EXP stuff then, really?
Yeah.
So
because
you sort of started doing it. Well, I suppose that's your background in Fine and Country was similar to sort of self-employed.
Yeah. No, back then,
sort
even then, like that was years ago now. That was we were just a license of a good independent estate agency, and they just decided to take a license for one of their offices. And I was working in their office as an employee, just pushing the Fine and Country brand. And everything that I'd done led up to, because I knew from 12 years old that I wanted to own my own estate agency and change the world, because of a really poor experience that I witnessed my single mum have when I was 12, blah, 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 blah. But that was really motivating for me. So we've got my kind of thoughts on it. I've always really believed in it since 2016. That was always when I set the business up in 2013, 14, it was always like, right, I'm going to grow with partners rather than employees. Staff. I just hate the word staff. It's like banned from my vote. I never use it, and I hate people that use the word staff. But to me, it's team members, and I just don't like the thought of being a boss. I don't like being a boss. I'd rather have people next to me doing it with me. So I was listing and selling and getting a reputation, and I just want them to do, come and do this with us. But then I think what's happened is I don't think the UK is quite ready for the American version of the self-employed model.
Okay.
I think it's got long. I think it's there or thereabouts, but I think we're a whole different country, and it's got legs. But I don't think it's going to be the dominant model for a long time to come yet.
Yeah. I think the Brits do things differently over here, don't we, to America, and we've got our own nuances. And I think America, and the rest, and a lot of the rest of the world, the self-employed thing is the norm, and that's how they work out there. And a lot of it is they've got buyer agents and seller agents out there, so they have both sides. That's the norm. Here, the estate agency world it's not really developed in that way. I think it's still very much high street based. You've got the established brands, the corporate brands, etc. And we haven't really that kind of way of doing things. I think we've not moved far from that. It's taking us a long. I think the Brits, we've sort of held on to that over a long time.
I think there's this really interesting, because I think you said about the big brands, right? The UK are just so they're really reassured by the big brand. So I get that it's all about. I mean, I'm all about personal brand. I do so much for my personal brand, but also for the Power Bespoke brand, because I know that clients take reassurance in safety of brand. That's maybe a bit different to the American models. I don't really know, but all I know is, there's a lot of brokers with a license in America that might only sell 3 houses a year.
That do very little. Yeah.
I'm all about 200 grand a year minimum bankings per agent. Let's not play doing this. Let's properly do this. And I think there's too much do a bit of estate agency as your secondary income and pay your £300 a month. And it's just not my bag. It's so far against what I believe UK estate agency should be about. And I also think we're at risk because we're unlicensed and whatever, unlike the Americans. I think we're at risk of fucking the industry more longer term by not having proper controls over the quality of person that's going in your living room.
Yep, it's a fair point. No, it's a fair point, because I suppose anyone, could start up their own estate agency business in the UK without any experience, and then within a week they could be sitting in front of you, sitting in your living room, pitching to you, and they might not have the foggiest clue of what's going on. And I think that is a bit of a recipe for disaster. But with that said, I have met some agents that have done very well without any prior experience to working in agency. They've just learned everything that they've needed to learn within the model.
I'm not. I've had agents. One of our agents now had never done estate agency before joining us. So I'm not in the camp of you've got to have experience, you don't need to have it. It's just all about the person. And as long as they understand that if you haven't done it before, your cold start as a self-employed estate agent, it's painful anyway, going self-employed. It's going to be more painful if you've got no prior background, reputation, experience. And I think what's where I've sat back and watched a little bit the last couple of years, it's been good to have the fourth baby. It's given me a chance to sit back. Since 2020, we've had 118 agents join our waiting list.
Wow.
And I've been the one slowing it down until kind of now, I guess. Probably this year we'll start growing again. We've had 11 joins into our waiting list since the start. And I call it a waiting list because we're not recruiting consistently. We have had 11 join this year so far, looking to all over the country, bear in mind, and we're very southeast focused as well. So a lot of those they're not in our plan for the next couple of years. But one big difference I think that's really important for the UK models is that we serve the home mover first and foremost. So and we're very honest about that, to say, look, our whole setup and being is to serve the client, not the agent. A lot of the American models, and it's fine because they, all work in different ways. Their sole purpose is to serve the agent and hope that the agent serves the client.
Yep.
But we're the other way around. Is we're very focused on the client and the home mover. Look after them. They'll keep coming back. That'll make the agent's life easier because they'll get loads more clients coming to Power Bespoke. And whether someone's selling a house in Brighton or South London, they need to have the Power Bespoke experience.
Yep.
It just so happens that in Brighton they're dealing with Simon, and in South London they're dealing with Georgie. But the brand controls and the 300 5-star brand reviews, it all helps new agents coming on to properly leverage that.
Yeah. So you sort of working to better the customer experience and the client themselves, rather than rather than making a platform for the agents and serving the agents and making it their that sort of model. So you try to sort of,
when I'm speaking to, I'm like, you're not going to join us to start a business. If you want to do that, I'll help you do that. Come to the 3-day boot camp and I'll help you with what I've done with Power Bespoke to start a brand from cold.
Yeah.
So you're not going to start a business. You're going to work and you're going to build within ours.
Got you.
So you are a business, you're self-employed. And if you want to deal with only detached £1 million houses, high five. If you want to deal with only leasehold flats in London. High five to that as well. Like, it's your agenda, it's your plan, and by attaching yourself to us, we'll help you achieve it. And if you want to grow a team eventually, you can grow a team as well. But we're not kind of start your own business. It's like join ours, be successful,
be part of ours,
and then see,
giving you a platform.
What the future holds.
Yeah, giving you a leg up basically into starting your own business under the Power Bespoke brand rather than
if in time you want
to
license it or franchise it, who knows? Like, that's just not part of our plan at the minute, because I don't think the UK really is ready for that. There's a bit of a stepping stone. You know, if you're going to go self-employed, in my opinion, do it with a brand that can generate you a good number of clients per month to make your life a bit easier. If you want to go self-employed and go and cold start, then that's a whole different proposition.
Yeah.
So we're very hot on, we're here to serve the client first and foremost, but 60% of our clients that our agents deal with aren't generated by them.
Yes, you guys and your marketing efforts are bringing in the leads, and then you're distributing those leads to the appropriate person within your network. So yeah, I mean, I suppose where you've got different models, and I think you've got, you know, global models like Keller Williams, EXP, etc. There's only going to be so much they can do to sort of generate quality leads for the guys working for them, and I think the emphasis is a lot on generating your own business, and that can be quite tough, especially someone's new into the industry, doesn't know what they're doing. So anyone that makes it without any experience and no leads, like, hats off to them that they've done that. And you know, I mean, that's an incredible achievement. But I think the even harder thing to do would be to start up your own estate agency brand from scratch with no help whatsoever as an independent. And there are a few people doing that, and I think that's the bravest, you know, thing of. I mean, that's really going all in.
You know, but I would. Again, I've got to be careful what I say because this is recorded. But part of me thinks if you're going to go all in, go all in.
Yeah.
And have full control of everything. Like, I get it, like lower startup costs. And I'm chatting to a guy now, and he was like, "Look, Perry, I'm not sure." He's a director for quite a big agency around us, and he approached me and said he's watched what we've done for the last 5 years or whatever, and he's really impressed, and he wanted to chat about things aren't going so well where he is. He's like the third wheel of a business partnership, and he was like, I'm kind of deciding whether I join you or literally go all out on my own. I was like, or join us for 2 years and then go all out on your own. Like, I don't expect you to. I'll be naive to think people aren't going to join us and eventually might want to look to set up their own thing. And if they do, I'll help them and high five, because my dream at 12 years old was to have my own brand of quality, respected, highly reviewed, award-winning estate agents. So I would rather, and I'm like, great, it's not one or the other. Why don't you stepping stone, and in 2 years' time, you'll probably be earning 300 grand a year, and you probably won't want to go and do it. So I would probably, because I think you've got to also, what I've noticed a lot, and people can make their own judgment on this, right? But by attaching yourself to an existing brand, it might be 80% of the fee and cap rate and all this kind of stuff. And I get that, but what's the damaging effect of the guy down the road doing 0.5%? Now, I've had some recent people approach me to say, look, I really like it, but I'm a 2% agent and I love it. I really value myself. But someone's flicking flyers around saying that they'll do it for 0.5%. And people are mentioning that to me when I'm going out into appraisals. So that kind of stuff, I think, is quite important to bear in mind as well.
Yeah. So I suppose, every agent has control over what they charge and stuff like that. It's never happened to me. I've never actually come up against another Keller Williams agent, funnily enough, like in my 3 years. I don't know why that is, but I've never had to sort of be in there, you know, you've got different agents coming in, and I've been up against the high street a lot, but never another Keller Williams. But I have been up against sort of, you know, EXP and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I just think
it's
like at a
changed.
brand level, that's what I think the brand should be controlling to an extent. I mean, I'm not saying everyone's got to charge 2%. We cut deals left, right, and centre all the time. You have to do it, obviously, but control what you can and can't. One thing you'd have never seen. I sold houses for nothing in my first couple of years because I'd rather do it for nothing than 0.5%, because nothing don't stick with you. 0.5% does, because you're going to get recommended no matter what. If you're good, best get recommended at nothing and say, "I'm really sorry, John, that was a kind of launch offer. Our fees are now 2%." But I think it's important that that kind of controls are brand controlled, like understanding, are you an Audi, a Tesco's, or Waitrose? Like that's the brand level that I think the UK still respect and get reassurance from.
Yep. It's that
But
familiarity, isn't it? They want to, it's that comfort. They see a big brand, and I think, yeah, the psyche is thing. It can't be that bad if it's that big.
yeah,
Whereas you
yeah,
get, yeah,
and you know, Keller Williams are the biggest brand of estate agency in the world, right? Pretty much, or not far off it.
it's got the most independent. It's got the most franchised independent agents in the world. So, um,
Yeah, so that
it's about
so so
180,000 apparently.
so for them, for some people, that might be more important to them, for sure. You know, I want to join the biggest agency network in the world. Um, for some agents, it might be, I want to the other end of that. I want to be on a smaller, bespoke, higher fee, lower client numbers. Really, it's whatever. It's each of their own, and this is why it's not. People assume, I would say, from the 118, there might be about 20 agents there that I've looked at their kind of application form and thought they'll be worth a chat in the future.
Yeah,
Because people, I think, assume that because you run the self-employed model and it's like a seller. Not every seller's right for us as a company, and not every agent is right for us, but they might be perfect for the one down the road.
yeah, definitely. I think the real barrier to entry, though, I from my perspective, as in going into completely independent and doing my own brand and stuff like that. Because a lot of people ask me, why don't you do it? Is the costs. Like it's paying for Rightmove, it's paying, paying staff, it's having all the other marketing things you got to spend, etc., etc. And that to me is the biggest sort of block in terms of me starting anyway. And I think there's a lot of people that probably, you know, had the same issue, and see the self-employed model as a bit of a stepping stone towards that, but they don't necessarily take that leap, and a lot of them just stay within the Keller Williams brand because it's working for them. And sometimes it's like, well, if it's working, why change it? That's probably where people get stuck, making that leap.
Yeah, I'm a massive and look, it's everyone's like, we've got agents that want to earn 50 grand a year. Happy days. We've got agents that want to earn 200 grand a year. Happy days. Like, the great thing with partner agency models is that it is all about the agent. Now, for us, it's not a case of we just make sure that their aspirations fit in with our aspirations to an extent. I don't I don't when the business is getting to a stage now, and I'm speaking to more agents, and some are currently self-employed, some are not even agents, some are employed agents. It's just really, I judge by my own standards a lot of the time, and I'm learning that to grow a business, you need to stop doing that, because I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want to do 200 grand a year at least and only sell 100 grand? Like,
Yeah,
200 grand should be your kind of hard deck, and 250, 300 grand should be your stretch goal. But that's just not tickling their fancy. If they can get a bit of time freedom, and earn 50 grand a year and they're happy, then I'm happy for them. But I find it quite odd. But
yeah,
because
different
my own
ambitions. Yeah,
perceptions
different
is you've got to
ambitions.
be pushing up your average fee. There's only three ways to grow as an agent: increase your volume, increase your fees, increase your average property value, or a bit of both. Let's just keep pushing that average fee from 5 grand to 7 grand to 9 grand to what I charge now is 15 grand. So but they're quite happy charging 7.5 grand maybe as an average fee for the next 5 years. And that's what I love about agency is you can set your own limits, set your own goals as partner agents. Obviously, our employed team have to kind of work towards our business strategic goals ultimately. Hence why I have some employed and some self-employed, because we're not just a platform for agents.
Yeah, definitely. And when you started doing your own business, yeah, you chose to have your own. You chose to have a serviced office rather than a high street. Was that strategic thinking like on your behalf, or what was the sort of thought process there with regards to the office itself?
Yeah, definitely strategic. Like, so the history was I was at the time I was managing an office. For my last period of my employed life, I was kind of the guy that was sent into the offices to give it some energy. Like, and I was put into an office in Coulsdon. And it was a massive office, like an 8-man office. It was 1+1. And my area manager at the time gave me a bollocking for locking the office at like 1 PM back in 10 minutes, sign on the door, the old school.
Classic.
And to go and do a cash buyer viewing. They were outside the house, it's vacant. I had the keys, and he proper bollocked me. And I was like, something's wrong. And I was like, this is bollocks. So yeah, we always set up in a serviced office. Went full circle, serviced office, to then we had a nice big unit on a kind of farm industrial estate. And we've gone post-COVID back to a serviced office, and everyone's actually working remotely anyway. But the main reason we've done it is pigeonholing. So we sell stuff in Clapham and Brighton from Reigate, because we're not kind of signposted on the high street to say we're a Reigate agent.
Yeah.
So we're more kind of database miners. If someone inquires about a house for sale in Reigate, brilliant. We've got a place, they're moving out of Clapham. We'll get ourselves in the door and get it on the market is the plan.
Yeah, so it was more to sort of not pin yourself down to a certain area, so you can grow it and tap into other areas, and that was forward. You were thinking ahead basically when you did that.
And all our agents do the same. Like, we have meetings every month and stuff, and I sit down and be like, look, days on market in Reigate is shot up, but days on market in Hawley is really strong. So all put your foot on the gas in Hawley. It's really good to be able to have that flexibility to you decide where you push rather than hope someone comes to you in Reigate.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so you mentioned everyone's working remotely now, as in working from home mainly, and then do you just have like the office there just for training and things like that, or like, how do you sort of utilize it?
Well, the office has become a glorified key box really now. For our lettings management, maintenance guys pop in there and get keys for whatever else. But we've got a really good, and I've had an agent join us from Connells that was sick of meetings about meetings at 8:30 every morning, right? She's an amazing estate agent, bangs in about 30 grand a month, personal bankings. And she can't believe how hands-off I am as a boss. I'm like, look, you're joining us, but most of our guys are self-employed because I don't really want to be a boss. Just help clients move and happy days. But now we do every Tuesday morning we have a little video huddle with all of us on a video call, just to thrash out any problems or situations that we need to pick each other's brains on. Obviously got the WhatsApp group, which is great, that's always popping. We have an end of month all hands meeting, so that the kind of support team, the viewing team, the agents all get together for a whole day at the end of the month. We have bi-monthly pizza nights. So yeah, we've kind of found that nice cadence and rhythm where we're not getting it in each other's way every day, but we've also got a good level of support for each other.
Yeah.
And it's tricky for me because I'm not someone that sits in the ivory tower and just, I'm listing and selling. I've got 3 offers on a house that I'm trying to neg today. So it's like running a business because I want to grow it, but also want to do deals and sell houses myself. But as you know, in this market, that takes a lot of time, even to sell one house at the minute. Days on market's longer, client contacts more.
Needy.
Interesting question for you, actually. What do you think an agent's capacity level is in terms of holding stock for sale and sales in the pipeline?
So
until you start thinking, Jesus Christ, my weekends are gone, my evenings are gone. Like, what's a fair capacity level, do you think?
I think to have a maximum of 10 on the market, I think is a lot. That's a lot to deal with. And especially if you're talking about delivering a very high level of service, you can't take on too many over that, because the service level is then going to drop. And then that defeats the whole sort of object of what you're trying to pitch, which is a personal service, and it's bespoke, and you get me as your point of contact. And if I'm not responding to someone within 24 hours, there's a huge problem, because my normal response rate is pretty much instant, as in I'll get back to people pretty much straight away. I think if you get over 10, you're going to struggle to keep those going through, especially if you've got a big pipeline as well on top of that, because then you're trying to service the pipeline. I have thought about this, and Keller Williams, they actually employ a sales progressor. So you can give your sales to a sales progressor, but again, I think that kind of defeats the object of what you're pitching is, I'm the accountability piece. If you're just giving it to a sales progressor. So
I'm with you on that, man. So we've had so many, and part of the past couple of years of just watching and refining and tweaking and editing a bit before we start really growing. I mean, when I say really growing, maybe that might be 10 agents a year for us. Like, I'm quite happy with that. But you're bang on. So our kind of minimum capacity level is 8 and 8. It's 8 for sale, 8 in the pipe. 10 and 10, probably, you're right, getting stretched. It's interesting because a couple of years pre-COVID, we run a 15 and 15 model. So 15 for sale, 15 in the pipe. But we had our booking team, viewing team, sales progression team.
Yeah.
All our agents leveraged. But interestingly, it's interesting that you say that the agents can pass to the sales progressors. They shouldn't be, in my opinion. Massively not right now. Like back in the day when we had 15 for sale, 15 in the pipe, you put it on Rightmove, opened out the weekend, it's agreed and in the pipe by the following Monday, and it will sail through most likely. But that's why our capacity levels have dropped to 8 and 8, because we are, and so we should be, in my opinion. When you're taking that set of keys off the client and saying, look, I ain't letting these go until you've got the keys to your new house, then yeah, capacity is really important to keep and our guys at the minute are running way over capacity because we do need more agents, but I'm just still trying to refine, not get perfect, no such thing as perfect, but I think we tried to grow too quick because we could. 17, 18, 19. Learned a lot. Lettings, for example, was a big change since 2020. Giving the agents every possible way of earning money and helping clients. So private sales, online auction, public auction, committed transaction, letting the property management. We've been building that a lot since the last couple of years. And so, yeah, but you're right. Service levels, 8 and 8, 10 and 10. Also depends what your average fee is. If you're really good at getting good fees, you're not going to need as many clients, but you do need a certain amount, because a certain amount are not going to move. They're going to come off the market. They're going to fall through. And I think $7,000 average fee is a nice average fee to work towards.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it does kind of limit you in a sense, because there's like where I've struggled is when you get to that bit, when you get that busy, you're doing everything yourself. You actually can't take any breaks. So you end up working 7 days a week, and you end up not being able to take a day off, and it becomes not a job, it becomes a lifestyle. And it's literally like you can't give it to anyone else, because they're all doing the same thing. So they're all going to be looking after their own clients. And
well, the irony there, isn't it, is that you go into it thinking you're going to get more time freedom and you never do. But I mean, it's quite important. Like, one thing we've kept, so we had our front end kind of office team, that would be in the office, booking all the viewings and speaking to buyers and that kind of stuff. That's changed, and our agents deal with their own inquiries. I think that's really important in a tough market that you're doing that. But what we've kept is our viewing team, which is amazing. Like, they just buzz around every day of the week, maybe from Brighton to South London, just doing viewings, because that's the one area that you can buy back your time. And as long as you're using that time productively and not just sitting watching Netflix, you will get a huge return on that viewing support.
Interesting.
And the clients, like, they're out bank holiday Monday, Friday, Sunday. Like, whilst I've got 4 kids and they also need my attention at times, and I introduced them. So I introduced the whole team on my set to sell meeting or whatever. And I'm like, look, I've got 4 kids. Here's my weekly schedule. I share it with the clients. I play tennis on a Wednesday. I take my kids football on Sundays and Saturdays. So when I'm not around, Jenny and Julie will be doing my viewings, and they're great. They'll visit the house before the viewing start and blah, blah, blah. That's a great way as a first step, I think, to buy back some time, because I know viewings are important, but 1 in 8, say you've got 8 viewings and there's only 1 buyer there. So 7 of those can be spoken to on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, there's something to be said about doing the viewings and giving that sort of feedback directly to the seller, and potentially building relationships with those buyers who might have something to sell, etc., etc. So I think there's probably opportunities there where, if you just gave it to someone to do, they're probably not gonna have the same sort of level of, I don't know what the word is.
I get it, but this is where your business gets to a stage where you think, what's the priority here? And to me, on a Saturday, what's more important is I take my kids. I've got 3 kids that have clubs, and not, I would say 80% of those people viewing with Jenny with houses to sell, I've already booked them before Saturday anyway. It's down to me then, because I know I'm not going to be there. Yep. I can't say, convert that appraisal for me. It's down to me to get that in the diary before the viewing even takes place. Yeah. Or you got 3 bites at the cherry for those properties to sell not on market, on booking the viewing, on doing the viewing, and on following up the viewing.
Yeah.
So you've still got, with her helping with your time and leveraging your time, so you get a chilled out day with your family. You've still got the lion's share of opportunity there to get it converted.
And is that something which you would promote to your agents as well, as in
hugely? And again, this comes back to the client's needs first, not the agents. So it's not up for discussion. If you've got viewings and you can't do them on Saturday, get the girls to do them.
Yeah, because
the client wants their house sold. Just because you want to be a bit tight and not pay the fee for, and we cover half the cost of all our agents' marketing costs, all our agents' property marketing costs, all our agents' viewing support costs. So it's like, I would rather it be done on the Sunday than done on the following Wednesday from a business perspective and the client perspective. So let's just do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
And the client gets every client, because the client experience is so important to me. They get a kind of set to sell meeting. So, it would say, Josh has probably already mentioned it, but if he hasn't, this is our amazing viewing team. And at times when Josh isn't available, we don't want to miss the opportunity for you. So one of our girls, our viewing team, not necessarily girls, cool, I'll get in trouble in a minute. We'll be picking up the slack. We built our own custom CRM. So if the viewing is in the diary for the viewing team, an automated text from Josh comes the night before saying, hey, you're meeting Jenny. She'll be able to show you around, but any questions before or after, here's my mobile number. I'm always around. Like, it's quite pretty mad stuff.
Yeah, no, I can see how that would help with leveraging time. And that is one of the things I did struggle with, and I still do, trying to find time for outside of the business. And if I want to go away and stuff like that, it's I suppose where you've got that, you can lean on that facility a bit more.
That's why we put the ecosystem in place for the agents to be great agents, but also to have a bit of a life. Like, I know I couldn't be without, and it's a bit of a personal thing as well. because I wouldn't be able to do it with 4 kids like I used to do it when I had no kids. But with this support structure, I can.
Yeah.
And agents have to find the confidence and understand that the seller doesn't really care. All they care about is that Josh is overseeing my move. If Josh thinks it's all right to send Jenny, then high five, Josh. And if you're getting the right clients, honestly, and you're introducing the team in the right way, as long as Josh is there doing the follow-ups and negotiating the deal, then that's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. So with regards to providing your agents with leads, as in seller leads and things like that, like what are the ways you're doing that that have been successful for them and yourself?
So we do a lot of direct mail from the brand. We do a lot of Google ads. We spend a lot of our head office costs on generating quality. And this is the thing, like quality. We can all get a cup of tea appraisal, as they're called, but we would rather do those by video call, and then we'll just wait until they're out of contract or until to go and burn some diesel going to get there.
Yep.
So yeah, it's mainly internal referrals as well. Like that goes down well. So if Simon's on the South Coast, if he's got a client is given good service to, then they want to sell a property in Croydon, he'll pass that to Georgie, and it's a recommended client, so the chance of conversion's a lot higher, the fees going to be a lot higher. Yeah, just stuff like that. Direct mail.
They do splits with each other as well, as in would they share a bit? Yeah, that's right. So the marketing budget you put behind it, as in the direct mail and the Google ads, I'm guessing like Facebook ads, stuff like that, that the agent themselves, would they have to contribute towards it as well?
No.
Or is it? No, not
so that's the brand level stuff. But then if they want to go and do a 10,000 leaflet campaign in Beckenham,
yeah,
then we share the cost of that.
Okay.
So we've got our kind of same with videos on properties. If obviously we've got our premium marketing options for sellers, but if an agent's like, I need this to promote the property, but myself as well, you know, property videos are mainly there to promote the agent as well as the property. Then yeah, if it's 700 quid, it's 350 each, because we're investing in the marketing of the agent and the property. I'm really hot on that. The issue with the majority, I think, of partner agent models and the reason why they're not ready for the UK, in my opinion, on the whole, and don't get me wrong, you know, most of these companies have got 200 agents, and I'm sure at least 100 of them are killing it.
I wish.
But it's you are expected to take 100% of the risk and only get 70% or 80%, whatever it is, of the reward. I'm quite happy to waste 1,000 quid if it ends up being a really crap leaflet camp. You know, I've never done leaflets in my life, actually. That's a bad example. But if someone did want to do that, then let's do it. But if it doesn't get the response that maybe the Google ads are getting, then we both wasted £1,000. You've got to spend money to make money at times, and I'd rather back what they want to do as opposed to just them take all the risk.
Yeah,
because we're going to share in the revenue that comes in.
That makes sense. So if it's something they want to do, as in extra, then they can put money in. But the machine, as in what you do, the marketing, you're going to do that anyway. So it's like you're going to get
we're always
get a certain amount of leads anyway.
It's interesting. Like you'll never see us kind of recruit for agents. We're always recruiting for clients to sell their house, ultimately to help them move. And what that brings is the fact that we've got 118 agents on our waiting list. Like, I think do the thing that you're set up to do first and foremost, and people see what we're doing for clients, and they look at it and think that looks quite interesting. I might want to talk to them. Yeah. If it was like, we'll never be seen to recruit for agents. Yeah. I've got plenty that that I would hope would want to join us when the time's right.
Well, 117.
Well, yeah, I mean, look,
but not all of them.
That's since 2020. A lot of those have probably working with you somewhere now and gone to other models, which is fine if they really want to be self-employed. But we weren't a case of, you know, what's the success rate? I would say you'll be lucky if it's 50-50. And by success rate, I mean after 2 or 3 years, you know, they've actually built a business and got their time back a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a business. If you want to be a self-employed agent for the next 10 years and that's your success, then that's fine as well. But most, I think, go into the business ownership side with the view of building time freedom and financial freedom.
Yeah.
And I've not even built that 10 years down the line still, partly because I'm a sucker, because I just love what I do. I set Power Bespoke up to sell houses, and that's what I think I'll do for the next, what am I, 36? Yeah, next 20 years. I'll always be selling a house or two. But it's just an interesting time to watch at the minute.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I mean, I'm going to ask you final question. What do you think the future of estate agencies will look like?
No different to the past of estate agency. And interestingly, right, the whole tech, the whole AI, the whole crazy stuff going on out there, it will be the same. Someone in their 500 grand, 600 grand house will want somebody that's really capable to hold their hand and get them moved. But how they do that will be different. They'll be working from different places. AI writes my property descriptions for me. AI manages my diary better for me, freeing me up to just be a better agent. To just help clients move. Like, there's no piece of technology that's going to solve every client's possible nuances of their current situation and where they are and where they want to get to. That takes you and I.
Yeah, so the human element is still going to be there, but it's just going to be supported by some new technology like the AI stuff that they're bringing out. And there's a lot of, I think, a lot of the CRMs as well. How it'd be interesting to see how they integrate the AI components, and also with people working remotely, how that's going to develop in terms of the teams and how they're interacting and things like that. Because right now it feels a lot like we're all on different islands. Do you know what I mean? So they're over there, I'm over here. We might talk to each other occasionally, but there's not really that kind of fluidity, and we're not really sort of like sharing each other's clients or data or anything like that. It's
well, that's a really important point, and this is going to end up being longer than you said it's going to be, but I think it's some really interesting discussion points here. Now, what you just said there is really interesting. So I believe it will be as it's been for the last 100 years, somebody helping someone move house. Where they do it from, how they do it is all going to change, but there'll be somebody dictating a very decent living and fee for doing that for them. Most of my clients are secondhand business because I'm quite happy to lose it firsthand and get it back secondhand. But technology, UK is 10 years behind everyone else anyway, generally. Hence why when we were end of 2019, we had signed a contract to custom build a CRM on the Salesforce platform. And what's really interesting, so a lot of our time and money has gone into building the tech platform that will enable the agents, not building the platform for agents, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But what I've realized, I didn't know how, but you've got access to every buyer on the whole database. Like, it might be that a buyer just inquired on a house with me at 1.5 million and they're not on market yet in Beckenham. Fill your boots. Like, hey, John, you've just viewed a house with Perry. How about I come and see you next Tuesday at 4 to discuss getting your place sold?
Yeah.
Which is really unusual, because even back in the day, these big corporate agencies would sell their office network.
Yeah.
And you'd only ever know that if you were in the industry, that they ain't even got access to each other's buyer databases. Like, they weren't even connected properly. So similar things. A big thing that I'm making sure with the technology at Power Bespoke is that everyone has access to everything. So there's opportunity galore if you're hungry for it. I know there's probably 5 people at the minute that I've not converted appraisals from that have inquired about houses that I'm selling at the minute. I need to get my arse in gear, but if I miss the boat and someone else does it, then high five to them. At least someone's done it.
Do you get a lot of fights though between like, oh,
Nah,
that's
there's a
my
7-day
buyer, that's
lockout
my...
rule.
Yeah.
There's a 7-day lockout.
Okay.
We've got really simple rules.
Because that was always the thing, wasn't it, in agency? It's like, oh, that's my client, that's my buyer, blah, blah, blah. I spoke to him first. No, I put a note on there, blah, blah, blah. That sort of stuff went on a lot.
Yeah, no, we've had literally first 7 days of them inquiring, and then I'm still speaking to them and getting the viewing book. Jenny's doing the viewing. I might be hitting them on the viewing follow up for the appraisal, right? But after 7 days, if I've snooze, you lose. The client's the important one, not internal politics.
So after 7 days, it goes on to the shared like pool of clients basically, and anyone can speak to them.
Yeah. And new guys coming in do really well out of that, because if you're at capacity of 10 and 10 clients, you're not banging the database as much as you should be, but that's fine because you're probably at a level now where you're actually attracting clients. But the early hungry ones that are coming in, it's like, look, they viewed something, they offered on that place with that agent last week, and they've not been converted an appraisal yet.
Yeah,
that's just poor estate agency.
Definitely.
And I ain't going to go and blow loads of money on marketing if we can't just do the fundamentals of good old-fashioned 1980s estate agency.
True. That's very true.
Well, it's got a place. Yeah,
definitely. Well, really appreciate your time today, Perry. Been very insightful. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you if they interested in what you do, want to follow up with conversations?
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. I mean, there is one other Perry Power out there. So
the actor, wasn't it? The actor.
That's it.
Yeah, I saw that. I was Googling.
And he's got a really, bless him, it's such a crazy backstory. I got a message once to say, I didn't know you were molested as a child. And I was like, no, I really wasn't. But the other Perry Power has written a book, bless him, about how he's helping other people get over that kind of thing. So yeah, socials. I'm more of a Facebooker, being 36 years old. Is always a good place to find me.
Facebook. Okay. That's brilliant. Well, really appreciate that, Perry. And I'm sure anyone listening, hopefully that has been very helpful to you as well. And I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Josh. Take care.
Cheers.